my name is Olson. If you ever walked into a house and that smell of hot chocolate chip cookies surrounds you and your mouth starts wandering and you run to the kitchen to bite into that delicious chocolate chip cookie. Then you wonder, I wish I knew how to do that. Well, I'm here today to tell you that you can make the best chocolate chip cookie ever. So there are a few things we're going to have to talk about. Choosing a recipe, the equipment you're going to need in order to make the cookies, the ingredients you're going to need, and I'm going to tell you how to actually mix those cookies. So, first of all, choosing the recipe. There are thousands of recipes out there. You need to just pick one. Do you want a chew cookie or a thin and crispy cookie? You can use cookbooks, you can use magazines, you can use the chocolate chip cookie package, or like I do, I use a recipe that I've been using forever from my mother. Works great. Next, you're going to have to decide the utensils you need. First thing you're going to do is decide, okay, how am I going to mix them? You can use a stand mixer, you can use a hand mixer, or you can use a bowl and spoon. All three methods work great. Stand mixer, of course, is going to be easier, but they all give you a good result. Also, your utensils you need. You'll need measuring spoons, measuring cups, a metal spatula, and a rubber spatula, and most important, a cookie scooper. Next, your pans. According to Good Housekeeping Test Kitchen, you should use a heavy metal, light-colored pan to bake your cookies in. If you use a dark pan, your cookies tend to cook quicker and they might burn. And you don't want to burn your cookies. You're also going to need a wire rack to cool your cookies on when you're done. All right, what ingredients am I going to need? Let's talk a little bit about ingredients. First, let's talk about flour. There's self-rising flour, there's bread flour, all-purpose flour, and many more. According to the Joy of Cooking cookbook, you shouldn't use self-rising flour unless you have a recipe that calls for it. You have to adjust your ingredients in order to make that come out right. So avoid that when you're starting out. And the King Arthur hotline says you shouldn't use bread flour in cookies. It gives you a different consistency of your cookie and you probably wouldn't be happy with it. All right, how about your shortening? You can use butter, Crisco, or margarine. According to Megan at the Decorated Cookie, she uses half butter and half vegetable shortening. That way you get a cookie in between a soft cookie and a crispy cookie. If you use all butter, you're going to have a thin, crispy cookie. If you use all shortening, it's going to be a thicker, chewier cookie. According to the Joy of Cooking cookbook, you should not use spreadable margarine. Spreadable margarine has too much air and water in it, and your cookies won't come out right. How about vanilla? You want that flavoring in there. According to Kelly Foster at thekitchen.com, she surveyed some experts and said, oh, you can only use pure vanilla. But Better Homes and Gardens says that you can use whichever you would like. The flavor when you use imitation vanilla in baking isn't that much different than the pure vanilla. And of course, the cost is prohibitive with the pure vanilla. It's very expensive. So it's really your choice. All right, how about chocolate chips? There's semi-sweet, there's milk chocolate, there's dark chocolate. It's really your preference. What do you like the best? I personally like a mixture of all three in my cookies. All right, let's get started. Let's make some cookies. So first thing you're going to do is preheat your oven. You're going to check your recipe. Generally 375 is the temperature you would set your oven at, but make sure you check your recipe so you get it right. Then you're going to prepare your baking sheets. You want to lightly grease them. You can use butter, margarine, Crisco, or you can use a spray, or you can use parchment paper, which is much easier to clean up. Then, in your mixing bowl, you can start with 1.5 cups of white sugar, 3/4 of a cup of packed brown sugar, 1.5 cups of butter-flavored Crisco, my favorite, 3 eggs, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla. You're going to mix all those ingredients together until they're nice and smooth. Not too long, but make sure they're all smooth. There's no lumps from your sugar or your shortening in there. Then to that, you're going to add 3¼ cups of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and 2 cups of chocolate chips. maybe more, you know, chocolate chips are great. Now you're gonna leave out 1/4 of your cup of your flour, because if you put too much flour in, your dough gets too dry. So you wanna save a little out so you can add a little more if you need to. So once you mix all that in, you wanna scrape the side of your bowl, make sure that you've got it all mixed up. Then, once you have them all mixed up, you're gonna put them on the pan. You're gonna use your cookie scooper, or 2 spoons, to put your dough in a pan. Cookie scooper is great, it makes nice, evenly shaped cookies every time. You want to make sure and leave 1.5 inches or 2 inches between your cookies and from the edge of the pan. That way when your cookies bake, they don't spread and run into each other. Next, you're going to bake them from 9 to 11 minutes. You want to start low. You want to start with 9 minutes. That way, if your oven bakes a little hot, you're not going to burn your cookies. So after that 9 minutes, you're going to take your cookies and look at them. Are they kind of pale? Are they lightly brown on the edge? Or are they really brown? If they're really brown, oh no, you burnt them. Don't do that. So check them. If they're a little bit light, you want to leave them in for another minute. Make sure you get that nice light brown edge to them. Once you have that, then you're going to pull them out. Let them rest on the pan for maybe 30 seconds and a minute. Then you're going to gently remove them from the pan onto your cooling racks with your metal spatula. Then, I know you can find a perfect recipe and you can do this because we've given you some great tips and it's simple. Follow your recipe, and the final thing is get your milk, get your cookies, and enjoy. Thank you.